Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We have a special guest on the line.
That's right, the NBA Coach of the Year, and it's not even close. If it's not Tom T, then who it is? Who is it?
That's right, and Tom Thibodeau is here. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
First, I just want to say thank you for years being a New York Knicks fan. We've been broke. Our hearts have been broken. It's been hard to watch. Finally, we got a good team, and you guys are playing some great ball, and you coaching some great young men. So let's first talk about why did you want to come to New York when you decided to come to New York? Because New York was bad for a long time.
Yeah, so I grew up in Connecticut, and my dad was a Knicks fan. So I came to the Garden when I was a young kid. And then in the 90s, I had an opportunity to be an assistant coach under Jeff Van Gundy and with those great teams with Patrick Ewing and Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson. So I saw what it was like. And, and I go way back to the 70s with, Willis Reed and Walt Frazier and that team. And, I know what the game means to the city, what the Knicks mean to New York City. So growing up like that, then having an opportunity to be here in the 90s, I was excited when this opportunity came up. And, if you're a kid that grows up in Connecticut, I had an opportunity to be with Boston in 2008. And then, of course, being here doesn't get much better than that. But there's no place like New York City.
I wondered, Coach, did you have any reservations about taking the Knicks job because of the reputation of the owner, James Dolan?
No, I didn't, because in the 90s, towards the end of that time, it's when he initially bought the team. And right from that, and I was an assistant coach, and it was a brief period of time, but he treated me great as an assistant coach. And I always felt through the years, Jim Dolan always provided resources for the team. So I knew he would be a great owner to be with. And then, of course, having Leon Rose and Worldwide West, William Wesley, those are two of my best friends. So it doesn't get much better than that. I knew the support would be there. And then, of course, just having the group of guys that we have an unbelievable team. I have a great coaching staff that's with me, and it's been very enjoyable for me.
Now, when you wanted to bring Derrick Rose back, what were the thoughts? Because I'm sure people were like, but he's proved to be a great asset to the team.
Yeah, no, and Derrick's special. And so I had an opportunity to be with him in Chicago. He's the youngest MVP in the history of the league.
Right.
And unfortunately, his injuries derailed him for a period of time. He had gone through 3 consecutive years of rehab, and that's very difficult to do. 1 year for a pro athlete is very difficult. But to be able to go through that and then come out on the other side, and if you really studied his career, even the time that he was here in New York before, when he's healthy, Derrick Rose has always played well.
He gets busy.
Derrick's a winner. He's a winner. He's a team first guy. He's always been a great teammate. I think he and Taj have been great for us just because of the way they've won their entire careers, their playoff experience, veteran leadership. And I felt that we needed that here. So just to build a foundation and to get it going right, they've been a huge asset for us.
You talked about Worldwide West and, of course, yourself. What do you think is the biggest attributes y'all have brought to the Knicks that have changed the culture? Because that's what I see with the Knicks. I see a culture change. What do you think that biggest attribute is?
I think it's everyone being aligned, from the owner to Leon. Leon's very pragmatic. And then there's only one Worldwide West, and he's a great relationship builder. He's got connections with everyone. And it's made it a lot of fun. And I think our players feel the connection between everyone. So everyone's on the same page. We're all working towards the same goal. Everyone's willing to sacrifice and put the team first. And that's what you need to be successful in this league.
I need you to be honest with me here, Coach. When you looked at what you had on paper at the beginning of the season, did you say, okay, we got something here, or did you say, oh, shit?
No, I was excited about the opportunity just because I felt strongly about the Knicks and Leon and Wes. And then when I first got hired, I'll tell you a funny story. I asked Julius to come in just to spend some time with him. It was it was during the pandemic. I think the next day he jumped on a flight and he came up here. And so we had a chance to spend like 3 or 4 days together, and I worked him out myself. And when he got here, I was just really impressed with the type of shape that he was in, because it was in the middle of the pandemic, very difficult to go anywhere to work out or work on your game. And I could see, you always have preconceived notions of what a player's like when having coached against them. But then once I got to know him and I saw the conditioning that he had, the work that he had put in, and I also noticed that his shot was different and he was really shooting the ball well. So I could tell that he had put a lot of time into it. And if you can recall, the Knicks weren't part of the bubble last year. So he maximized that time to work on his game. And after those 4 days, I knew that he could be the leader that we needed. And I could recall back to the 90s. I remember when I first got hired, Patrick Ewing was our best player. And he was the first guy in. He was in unbelievable shape, great work capacity. And obviously, when you combine that with talent, that's the best leadership you could have. And so when I saw the way Julius was approaching it and how committed he was to getting this thing turned around, I felt we would have a good chance.
Now, what do the Knicks need to do to win now? If we really want to win the chip, what do we need to do? Is it defense? Is it hitting our shots? What do you need the Knicks to do to win this chip?
Well, it's both. I think you have to be strong on both sides of the ball. And this year we wanted to build the foundation. Obviously, we've been a top 5 defensive team, and our shooting has really improved. I believe we're 3rd in the league in 3-point shooting right now in terms of percentage. And our guys have put a lot of time in, and it starts with Julius. Julius is the first guy in. He's the last guy to leave. He comes back at night, and we have a whole team of guys that are like that. They're all gym rats, and our veteran leadership has been fantastic. When you look at guys like Alec Burks, Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton, Taj, Derrick, Nerlens Noel, and Mitch has been out. Mitchell Robinson was having a terrific season, and he's out, and hopefully we'll get him back at some point. But it's a good group of guys. Emmanuel Quickly, rookie, and Obi Toppin have been terrific. They're young guys who bring a lot of energy to the team each and every day. So, but I think it's the commitment to play for each other, to sacrifice and put the team first that makes this group special.
How good is Julius Randle, Coach?
The thing that impresses me the most is when you look at the numbers, they're staggering. But there are players that get numbers that don't impact winning. And Julius has had a monster season, but the way he's impacted winning has changed everything for us. And so the challenge, I think, for a great player in this league is not only to bring the best out of themselves, but to bring the best out of the group. And he's done that. And like I said, the best thing that he does is the example that he sets each and every day. It's not really the things that he's saying. It's more the things that he's doing, the way he works in each practice, the way he prepares himself. All that stuff goes a long way. When your best player does that, then everyone follows. When you look at a guy like RJ Barrett, and he's only 20 years old, and the way he's playing and the way he's growing, I think he's going to be a special player in this league.
I was going to ask, are you surprised with RJ Barrett's age and how well he's been doing in this league?
No, I'll tell you, and I had an opportunity to coach with Coach K with Team USA. And when I got hired, I talked to him at length about RJ. And everything that he told me about him has been true. His commitment to the team, his commitment to work, how he wanted to learn, how he wanted to grow. And usually when you get those type of guys, and he's a gym rat, those guys always get better. He's driven to succeed. And the way he got into the lane last year as a rookie, and a lot of people didn't like the season that he had. He's been terrific. He ended up shooting over 40% from 3 this year. He put a lot of extra time into the game, but it's his all-around game that's really developed. He drives the ball. He can run pick and roll. He makes plays. Defensively, he's really challenging shots great, rebounds the ball. So he's a complete player, an all-around player, and I think he's got a huge upside.
Julius Randle's been getting a lot of MVP chants. Who is your vote for MVP? Would you vote for Julius for MVP this year?
That's my personal vote. I can tell you that. So, and I think it's hard. There's a number of guys, obviously, you can make a case for, but in terms of impact on a team, for me, it's Julius. And I know the thing that I love about him is he wants to continue to get better. He's not satisfied. And I think all the great ones have that in them. That's every year they want to add to their game. And so, and I'm biased. He's ours, but I love him.
If you aren't NBA Coach of the Year this year, then who is?
I don't know. There's a number of guys that have done a great job this year. So I'll leave that up to the all the media people.
No, we don't need you being humble right now. Okay,
yeah,
fourth seed in the East, baby. All right, back in the playoffs after 8 years. The New York Knicks. You are the undisputed Coach of the Year. It's not even close.
Well, I appreciate.
I'm with them. I agree 100%. Now, let me ask you: do you think the league is getting too soft? Because you talked about a time where you said Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley. The league was tough. Now the league seems really soft, and you can, Fal, let me go instant replay and look in the camera and see if it will. Like, that's kind of, I don't know if I like that too much.
No, but the thing is, and when you think about the NBA game, it's constantly changing. There's different styles. The 90s were different. The 80s were high scoring. The early 2000s were different. The rule changes brought more skill and speed into the game, and so it's probably geared more towards offense. But when you really look at it, the same things go into winning. It's commitment to excel on both sides of the ball, to be willing to sacrifice, to be strong on offense, strong on defense, to share the ball, and those are the teams that advance in the playoffs. So. I think you always begin with the end in mind, and know you got to have the things that you believe in. I think work, discipline, playing for each other, it's all the same.
I was wondering, because, Envy mentioned the veterans just now. Did you have conversations with Dolan about the way they've treated, New York Knicks legends like Oakley and Ewing in the Garden? Because I think relationships with those veterans would be important. Did y'all have conversations about that?
No, and again, that's, I was here during the 90s, and I saw how great it was, so I knew it could be great. And I always felt like with Jim, whatever you ask for, and he's been phenomenal with us. Whatever we've asked for, he's given us. And that's where I think guys like Leon and Wes are so good, because that's their whole careers. That's what they've been. They've been connectors. They bring the best out of people. I know we have a rich tradition here. I think there's a few teams in the NBA that are totally different. I know what the Knicks mean to New York City. I know what the Bulls mean to Chicago, and obviously what the Lakers mean to LA. And I think that when you look at this, the players that we've had here, and you see guys like Walt and Allen Houston, part of the organization, we know we have a tradition, and we're going to make sure that it's right.
People always say the NBA is better when the Knicks are winning. Why is that true?
Well, I think, as they say, it's the Mecca of basketball, the arena. I know from having been here, from being on an opposing team, I know how players feel when they come in and play in the Garden. There's only one Madison Square Garden, and it's the best place in the world to play. And it's a city that loves basketball. And they love their Knicks, and so hopefully we can give them something to be proud of. But this is a special place. You guys have been around here, what it's like, and when there's big games in the Garden, there's nothing like it.
What do you think about teams that stack their teams? And it seems like the NBA is doing that a lot now. We've seen it in Miami with the Big Three. We've seen it Golden State at one time, and now we've seen it across the water with the Nets.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
It's part of what the league has become. And you're right. In the 90s and earlier on, you didn't see that as much. We saw big threes, but it was usually because of either a trade or a front office that made it happen. And now with free agency, player empowerment, part of it is these guys all know each other well, whether it's growing up in AAU, Team USA, All-Star games, and they have the right to do that. So that's part of the way things are done now, and you have to accept it. And I think it makes it exciting too. It's a challenge. I know when I was in Chicago, we felt really strongly about the team that we had, even though Miami had the big three that they had. And so it makes it interesting. I think you look at Brooklyn, what they've done has been terrific. What the Lakers have done, terrific. But then there's a lot of other teams that are great stories as well. When you looked at the Jazz or Denver, those are terrific teams. And, Miami continues to be great. What Milwaukee has done. There's a lot of great stories in the league. I think Adam Silver has done an unbelievable job with the league. And just to manage it through this pandemic, it's been a challenge for everybody. And to be where we are today, it's a credit to the league.
Well, I got two more questions for you, Coach. One is, will the Nets ever matter as much as the Knicks in New York?
I don't know. You guys would have to answer that. I think there's a lot of great stories. I know, as I said, growing up in Connecticut and following the Knicks forever, and just when you travel around to all the different cities, there's Knicks fans in every arena, and so I think that the Knicks have a special place in New Yorkers' hearts.
Yeah, I think the answer is no. I'm being honest. I think that y'all going to the playoffs this year seems to me a bigger story. Like, unless the Nets win it all.
Yeah, and like I said, I think every team feels their team is special, but I think in terms of the league in New York, I think the interest in the Knicks has always been high, whether it's been good or bad. The interest is always there. I think, like many people, you grow up and you hear stories all the time about someone's father, someone's uncle, someone's brother took them to a game, and that's how they became a Knicks fan. And I know that holds true for me. But just walking around and seeing all the familiar faces. There are a lot of people that are still here that were here from the 90s, and I think that's what makes it special.
How did you feel when you heard Zion Williamson say how much he loves playing in the Garden?
Well, I think he was speaking the truth. As I said, I know when I was in Chicago or Minnesota or Boston, and coming in here, or Houston, you come in and you can tell how fired up your players are. You make a good basketball play in the Garden, the fans recognize that. And it's the atmosphere, it's the passion for the game, it's all those things. So I think every player in this league loves playing in Madison Square Garden.
What's the best team in New York?
The best team in New York? That's a tough one.
That ain't tough. You're supposed to say the Knicks. What do you mean?
No, it's not. You got to answer honestly.
Yeah, no, I got to believe that it's our team, because that's what I do believe, and I think if you ask a number of people, they would say it's their team. And as I told our players at the beginning of the season, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It only matters what we think, think we can do. And so, I know I got a special group of guys. We have a special group of guys here. They put everything they have into each and every day, and they've sacrificed a lot. And our focus has been on daily improvement, and that's where it'll remain. And we want to keep driving until we get what we ultimately want.
And what's the most challenging team you guys are going to have to face that you faced already this year and that it's going to be a challenge? Is there any one team that you say, okay, that team is a tough one?
Yeah, Atlanta.
Atlanta?
Because that's the next one.
That's right. That's right.
No, and that's really been our approach all year, is just focus on exactly what's in front of us. And this league is challenging because it's very easy to get distracted. If you look backwards or you look ahead, you're going to miss being focused on what is exactly in front of you. So I think that's important for us to understand what goes into winning each and every day.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, congrats, Coach.
Yes.
Got to salute you on everything that the Knicks have done this year. I mean, it's a big, big, big accomplishment. New York has been suffering. Knicks fans have been suffering for 8 years. So just to see y'all in the playoffs and playing hard, y'all being every game, that's a testament to the defensive-minded, mentality you brought to the squad. So congrats to you, Worldwide West, and the whole gang over there, man.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
All right,
Keep up the
Tom
great
T.
work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.